Hi guys, and welcome back to the Blues Focus podcast. We're here with Tommy.
Hi, Mike. How you
and here with
doing?
me. And today we're going to have a little kind of season review, how we feel like we're doing, how we feel the new transfers are settling in, just an overall review and looking at Sheffield United away at the weekend, which, it's great playing top of the league, isn't it? So we'll have to see how we get on. So yeah, I'm going to throw it out to you, Tommy, first. How do you feel like we're getting on this season? As obviously the man who goes and has to watch it half the time.
Yeah, I have to suffer for all this. Yeah, it's been an odd season, hasn't it? We've played a lot of games, despite the fact how early on in the season it kind of feels to a normal season. But I don't think we've played that badly, actually. I was looking back on some of the games the other day, and I feel like I've been a bit critical of some of the players, or maybe some of the way we've played. But we have played pretty decently. We've not been too bad in certain games. Like the one at Rotherham is obviously an exception, and Wigan as well. But the games in which we played against like Watford and Norwich, I thought we played fantastically in it, really, considering the opposition we were against, and also for the amount of players that we have in the team, really. Those players who have, they've, I don't want to use the word struggled because it's probably a bit harsh on them for the effort they do put in every week. But I feel like, for the situation that we're in, we're doing all right. We're not bottom of the league. We've not lost every game. We have done well in certain parts. So I think, I think there's a lot to be positive about, but it's again, when you're in this situation, for God knows how many seasons it's been now. How many has it been? It's like since 2016.
Oh,
it's about 6 seasons, isn't it?
It's just we've had one hopeful season, haven't we, since we went down, which is the first season we hit the playoffs.
Yeah.
And then it's been pain ever since. We obviously nearly hit the playoffs that one season, and the EFL deducted us points, and then we lost the club again, and then it all just that season capitulated, and that's been it, hasn't it?
It's been downhill ever since we lost Monk. It really has been. It's that season where we were like, pushing at least for the opportunity of thinking about playing in the playoffs was exciting. But ever since we've had Clotet and Karanka and Boyo, it's just we've never hit those heights. And that season wasn't even that special, to be honest, compared to the one under Chris Hughton. Like we were nowhere near the heights that we should have been hitting, really, as the club that we are as well. We should be up the top of that table at least. We shouldn't be down the bottom. We should be up that top of the championship, that's for sure. We should be at least in the top half, absolutely.
I say this all the time, and I get it off my mate. He's just a Birmingham fan, but I feel like we are a sleeping giant. At some point, we need to kind of, wake up again. We finished 9th in the Prem. We won a cup. Like we know how to handle the Prem. We know how to do these things.
Yeah.
We're just in a really bad rut, and it's been a few years, and we're all in pain with it now.
I think we're in like a bit of a, I don't know. It's like a apathetic feel, perhaps, maybe, because like when you feel just sort of so low about like how things just don't seem to pick up at any point. It's a very difficult situation we find ourselves in, because we're in takeover talks where that doesn't look like it could be going ahead. But we've also got terrible owners at the moment who have been so naive and been done over by every single club that they've ever bought from. And like, it's just like, who do you support in this whole situation? It's absolutely impossible for us fans. So it's like when we do badly, it's like everybody's to blame. But then when we do well, it's like, well, everybody's to compliment, aren't they?
Yeah.
But yet there's no in between at the moment, because it's all been so depressing. It's just nothing's ever been so like, oh, this was good, but that could be improved. But then it's all shit or all really good. It feels like, that's for sure.
It really is, though, isn't it? Like, and we're Birmingham fans. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
Like we know what our fan base is like. We love the Blues, but my God, like I saw us when we beat Preston 1-0 away, and there were still fans complaining. And I was literally just like,
yeah, that was a good game. I can't really understand why people were disappointed with us on that game.
We were just crying about Troy or something, and I was like, oh, please, like, just come on.
Not the time. We've done well.
I get it. We've had so many years of this now, and I get it. Our fans just are sick of it, and it's frustration. But like you said, I think so far this season, I think we have done really well. Considering squad size, like you said, and I'm at the point now where if you gave me 14th in March and I know I'm safe and secure, I'll be kicking my feet back saying it's been a great season.
That's so weird. That is so weird, honestly.
It's bad, isn't it? It's so bad.
Oh man. You just gotta love us, haven't you? You really have, haven't you?
Yeah, you gotta love the Blues, ain't you? But I feel like the squad is doing well. But how do you feel like the new transfers have mingled as someone who's seen it all live?
Yeah, yeah. Well, the new transfers have been the ones to really talk about, haven't they? Bielik, Chong, Hannibal, uh, including some of the summer transfer signings we had in Ruddy and Trusty. You know, I think whoever's had their eye on those players has been doing a really good job. I don't know whether that might be Gardner, whether that's Eustace, but whoever's picked those players out deserves a bit of credit for that because we've done really well under them. You know, Ruddy's been very solid, even though he was a little bit nervy in pre-season. I
I
don't know
went
how
to that
many.
game.
Yeah, I did too. It was absolutely ridiculous. I just suddenly like my heart just sank with me when I just suddenly saw it go between his legs. It's like, oh my god.
The last thing I saw like that was one of my last away games I went to. It was Wigan away when we had league camp. Do you remember that
Oh
40
my
yard that
god.
went
Yeah,
through his
that was on my
legs?
birthday. That was. Yeah, fucking hell.
I
That
had
was
them
insane.
flashbacks when I saw that going, and I thought, Jesus Christ, no. No, no, no. But you know what? Considering he's free transfer,
Hmm.
unbelievable. I think he's been
Yeah.
unreal.
Yeah.
Picked
With
himself up from that mistake.
yeah, I mean, like in terms of like how goalkeepers have been in the Blues over the past few years, we've had some. I'd say we've had some decent keepers, particularly in Matty Sarkic last season. I think he was very pick of the bunch, really, and it's heartbreaking to think how he left the Blues. Who was he playing? Was it Barnsley or somebody? Who did we play that he did his shoulder in and then had to go off with? I think it was Barnsley. I
It
can't
was
think
someone
of.
like that, weren't it?
Yeah, it was at the start of the year because I remember then Neil Etheridge came into the team and we went sort of just downhill afterwards because we were looking okay. And that sort of last season we had like Sanderson and we had Chong and we had McGree, who was another good player.
I
But
do
then as
mean
soon as
I was devoed with him. Sorry, I was devoed with McGree.
yeah, it was like when I think the worst things though about those seasons, like we're losing those players like McGree and Sarkic, is because they were the best players we had in a very underwhelming team. And that's what I kind of worry about with this team is that I wonder if Acuna, if he does go in January or sort of that time, will we start to see a bit of the team start to spiral down a little bit, you know, like because they seem to be the
Yeah,
only players who put in like who seem to like put the team up on that pedestal where we can actually look, oh, we might be all right this season.
yeah. I mean, looking at the signings, like you just said, like that middle three we've got at the minute with your
Mm,
Chong, your Bilic, and your Bakuna, they make the team, don't they? They make us like Bilic, especially. I know Chong's been
yeah,
fantastic, but Bilic, like to finally have a defensive midfielder, in my opinion, he has been unbelievable
yeah,
when he's fit. Oh,
yeah, definitely, yeah.
so good.
I don't want to compare him to Sergio Busquets, but I'm going to. So he's like one of those players who goes like so underrated and so like people just don't see like his sort of ability in the
Yeah,
pitch. It's so crucial to have in a team because when you have that player who just breaks up play and just distributes the ball perfectly every single time, it's just so
it,
much better to have than like an Ivan Sunic as much as it pains to
I
say.
was just gonna say it's like we've got the player that Sunjik's potential was gonna be.
Honestly,
it's
how much did we
like
pay
we've
for
got
him? Was it 6 million quid or something? God, the
oh,
money we got
six
back from
million
him.
too much.
No, honestly, it was
His
crazy.
work rate was there, bless him, but my God, he couldn't play football.
I've never doubted anybody's work rate at the Blues. You know, I've always believed that everybody is trying their hardest. It's just the what we need from the actual players. You know, it's we need to win some games and in those times where we were, you know, struggling for points with Bowyer and Karanka, you know, it was like, oh, God, it would be better just to have some decent players in the team. You know, because we've always
Just
liked
before
an
we can pass a
underdog.
ball.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely. We've
yeah,
always
but
loved
it's a
someone
game of
like that.
football.
Yeah, because we make like these cult heroes out of Duke and Kiffin and I absolutely fucking love those players as well because they are just the absolute rock of the Blues. But we do need better players than them. Like Duke is still at
Of
the team.
course.
It's like he's amazing. I absolutely love him. And that header that he scored against Sheffield Wednesday, I still remember the exact moments and the feeling I had from it. And those moments will never leave me because they are just absolutely fucking brilliant. But he needs to move on. He can't do that anymore, unfortunately. You know, we need a better striker. We need someone to have replaced the Kieftenbeld, which we kind of have with Bielik now, but he's on loan, isn't he? So it's like that same thing we go back to now. It's like if Bakuna leaves in January, if Chong was all of a sudden just offered by somebody and he went in the January transfer window as well. It's like, what happens to that team then? That's the kind of worrisome thoughts. And, I feel like that's where the team needs to look forward, where the club needs to look forward to, because what if these players go, which I'm sure they are looking at, but I don't know.
Yeah, like don't get me wrong, we got replacements in Hannibal, who's good. I like the look of him. I haven't seen enough of him personally. I'd like to see him a little bit more time. Looks energetic, looks up for it. And unfortunately, the injury against Norwich, but I thought Gardner looked like a new player this year when he played against Norwich. Controlled the game.
Yeah,
he fell apart when he came off.
Yeah, he's I've never doubted his work rate either. Again, this is just sort of like ability or sort of stuff like that. But I do think that he has still got the ability to be a very good player in this division. I feel like he has got the ability to, take on the whole team and then just bang it in the back of the net. I can see that in him because he's got the idea, he's got the determination to go forward with it. I just feel like sometimes his general ability lets him down, like his touch lets him down at times. I remember, who was it against this season that he took a touch and then it just sort of pinged off him? And it was like, oh God, what are you doing? That's just embarrassing. Oh, man.
You're a professional footballer. Come on.
Oh, man.
I know. How do you feel like, speaking of the other signings, obviously Trusty, I have no qualms with Trusty. I think he's been good.
Again, that's what I mean. I think with a lot of the players that we have signed, it's been just like solid, and they've proved their ability and they've proved their worth. And they can just put in a shift whenever you need them. I can't remember who he tackled against. Was it against West Brom or somebody? I can't remember now. I feel like I've imagined this, but I swear he put in like an absolutely amazing challenge when they were on the counter-attack. And it was just like, bang, that's the standard you get.
Did. Yeah. I think he did. And I think first game of the season when we were away at Luton, he was unbelievable that game. So I remember watching that.
He's been quality.
I think it was really Luton. Has. Yeah, he's been good all season.
Yeah, I think it was Luton. Yeah. I can't remember.
What do you think? Where do you stand with Plachetta?
Well, he hasn't played in many games now since we've overdone the loan availability in the club, isn't it?
He was always going to be the one, though, weren't he?
Yeah, I think he was.
He was always when you counted it.
Yeah, definitely. I think he was the one that if you couldn't get the players that you wanted in the team, you'd have to just settle with, which kind of feels a bit upset, a bit of a harsh thing to say on him, but. Yeah, he's a bit lightweight at times. He can be a bit of a pushover, I assume. I don't think he's a bad player. I think he has got the ability to be a good player in the Championship because he's scored a goal. He scored 2 goals, I think, in the pre-season. I think he's been pretty decent for us. He's been okay. But if he's not up to the level and standard that Chong and Bakuna are at, or if he's not as up to it as Jordan Graham is to play at wing back, then he's not going to be in the team. And I feel like he should be battling and biting at it to try and get his place back in the team because that's what he's been loaned to us for.
Yeah, and unfortunately, Blues fans, we do like to look for a scapegoat or two, and Plachetta might have picked up that scapegoat title for a little bit because I like him. I like how he goes forward. I like his determination, but he's a winger playing wing back.
Yeah, definitely.
And he's going to get defensively caught out a little bit. But it's still an improvement than playing Jonathan Lecco at left wing back.
Was that in Portugal? I swear it was. Like one of those games.
He did it as well against the Spanish team at St Andrews. Yeah. It was just...
saw him really scraping the bottom of the barrel.
He come inside and whipped one about that close from the goal. And I was like, if he had scored that was where he was going to start. And I was like, please, oh man, no.
Well, he did. Jonathan Lecco did score that goal against Norwich in the cup, which we couldn't watch annoyingly because it wasn't on the telly. Cheers, whoever didn't do that or whatever nonsense it is about not putting certain games on the telly. I don't know why. But
any excuse to not give Blues money.
Yeah, I don't know why it is. It always feels like whenever we've got a game that I can't go to, it's never on the telly. It's like I've got to either buy tickets to go to Norwich on Tuesday night, which is absolutely ludicrous. Or I just sit home and watch Gillette Soccer Saturday. It's like, I'm not doing that. I just watch it coming through on the teletext. I might as well do that.
Yeah. I bet you had to double check your teletext when it said Lecco, but you're like, nah. Nah.
I was just like, I'll turn it off and I'll turn it back on. That's not happened though.
Yeah, hang on. Have
And
you, obviously, I know he hasn't played for us yet, but have you seen this the West Ham left back? Has anyone seen him?
what's his bloody
Oh,
name?
Longello or something?
Longhello, that's it. I don't actually know how you pronounce his name. I think it's Longhello, although that doesn't sound quite right now I've said it.
If I butchered it, I do apologise.
Yeah, I apologise as well. I'm usually quite good with pronunciation. My brother is absolutely shocking with pronunciation. He called when Leicester were first in the Premier League, he called Mahrez, which I'll always bring him up on it because it's absolutely appalling. Where's the other A in that fucking pronunciation?
Where's that come from?
It's like it's Mahrez, you muppets.
Because
But yeah,
I was initially thought, go on, you go.
I think there's a little bit of a delay on here. I feel like I can hear myself on your feedback. I don't know whether I can. Is that? I don't know.
can hear you fine, but I don't know. You're right.
Yeah, I think it might be my headphones actually. I feel like I'm hearing myself twice. We'll cut that bit out. But yeah, Longhello, is that what we're talking about?
Yes.
Yes, yeah. I don't know anything about him, to be quite honest. I know that he's.
So I mean,
I feel like he's one of those players who can't really get into the team that much. I don't know. I think he might be like one of those Castillo players. He might have the better ability than Castillo, because when he played for us that one time, it was like, mate, do you even know what football is? Like, do you know how to play football?
How are you in Chelsea's academy?
I know, yeah, it was bizarre.
Yeah,
It's like the ability sometimes just gets overshadowed by their, I don't know, like attitude maybe. I don't know what it is with some of those players. It's just like when he turned up to the pitch, so it was like, oh God, yeah, you need to stay away from us. You do in a struggling side that we are. We need a better player than you, mate.
Get out.
Yeah,
yeah. Right. I don't know. I was always led to believe this Longhello, which is what we're going to call him now, was brought in because Eustace wanted to deploy a back four. That's what I was led to believe, and I was convinced by many fans. Eustace wants to go back four, so he's brought an actual left back in. And I was like, okay. But then this kid just hasn't featured. No.
Yeah. It's weird that we've got so many. He's another signing though, isn't he?
He's a loanee, I think.
That's what I meant, loan signing. I've just forgot the word loan. That's embarrassing. Jack will
you should get used to being a Blues fan.
Yeah, I might as well just assume that everybody's a loan signing. Oh, we've loaned Riley McGree out to Middlesbrough after we loaned him.
I was actually convinced for about a month that Ruddy was a loan until someone actually said, "Oh no, he's a free transfer." Yeah. Is he? He's ours.
Yeah, like thank God as well, because I was thinking at one point, it's like, how many more loans are we going to be getting in? And then it turns out we have exceeded the amounts, which I can't remember how much it is now. I think it's about 5.
I think it's 5, and we've got 6. Or you can't have more than 5 in a match day squad.
Yes, I think that's right. I can't remember now. There's loads of crazy EFL rules that I can't really keep up with. Being a qualified referee, I would know about some strange rules that are in the rule book that I don't really quite understand. Like, for example, you can't touch the goalkeeper when he's in the air with the ball.
What, even like shoulder going for a header?
Can't touch him at all. So if the goalkeeper comes out, he's caught the ball and he's still in the air. If you even touch him, it's a free kick to the goalkeeper's team. Which I don't really understand, because like if you slightly nudge him and he falls off balance a little bit but still lands, that'd still be a free kick. I don't really understand that. If it's like full into him, then fair enough, that is a proper
free kick. Yeah. You like RKO'd him out of nowhere. Do you know what I mean? It's a different ball game, isn't it? Like what?
John Ruddy, the Randy Orton of Birmingham City.
Yeah, man. But coming into this weekend, then obviously, how are you feeling about? I'm guessing you're going, Tommy. Sheffield United away, top of the league. I've just looked at some results. They don't seem to concede many.
Yeah, that's a little bit of a worrying thought for me. Particularly, it's on my birthday, so that's not going to be that's not going to be a great birthday present, is it? Going to Sheffield United and losing 3-0. But I've had worse presents.
I'm optimistically holding out for a 1-1 though. I think, I know they've won a lot of games at the top of the league, but watching some of the games, they do concede chances. Some good goalkeeping bails them out, some good defending. And we went to Preston thinking we were going to get absolutely nothing because they hadn't conceded a single goal, and we managed to rob them.
I think the standard is different between Preston and Sheffield United, really, though.
100%.
When it comes to the team that there's been put on show a lot, I mean, I haven't watched much of either Preston or Sheffield United going into these games. But I do know that from a couple of games I have seen from Sheffield United, they do look very organised, that's for sure. I think you've just got to be organised, really, in the Championship when it comes to the bare basics of all of it, because, like, you know, there's been some teams who have gone up before, like when you have Leeds who went up that season, they were, you know, really organised, really well drilled. They would be Ulster and everything. The same with Wolves, same with Norwich and Villa, and I don't know who went up in the 18-19 season. But when Sheffield United did go up with Wilder, it did look like a sort of similar circumstance. You know, they were well drilled, good players. You know, they're a couple of standout players here and there. So
they have kind of managed to keep that core, I suppose, and that core like team they had has kind of stuck around ish.
Yeah. I suppose they've got a few different players in. I don't know much about their squad entirely, but I do know that they are going to be a tough challenge, obviously, because Bramall Lane's a very difficult place to go to. They've got a very intimidating atmosphere.
Yeah,
that time we went, I've been there twice, and both times they've had very good atmospheres. The one we went to was last season. That was the first game of the season. That was very good to watch. That was obviously Maxime Collin get the goal at the back post was absolutely fantastic. But I do feel like if we come away with a draw, that'll be a well-earned points, because I can't see us going there, not getting the points and deserving it. You know, it's like that sort of thing. You know, if we win, then that'd be absolutely crazy, you know. But if we went there and lost, it'd be like, you know, top of the league, isn't it? So I feel like whatever happens, I think we'll be justified, really.
I'm hopeful for a good performance. That's, do you know what I mean? Like if we lost and it was 2-1 and we put up the fight, I'd be like, you know what, fair play, we lost. As long as, like you said earlier in the chat, oh, for the love of God, if I ever have to see another Rotherham away performance like that, it was just painful. I watched it on TV at home and I was just sat there like, I'd give up. Like, I said to my mates after a football, don't talk to me. Like,
yeah. I had to cut out a lot of what my dad was saying at that game, because it was just like
pure
rage, honestly. I remember we got in the car afterwards and he said, did you get much of me on film? I was like, yeah, a little bit. And he said, do you mind just cutting a little bit of it all out? Because it was like, I think at one point he was actually like full on hands and everything, bright red face, screaming into the camera about things. I was like, yeah, I don't think I can properly include this, considering my dad's 51 now, and like a fairly well-respected person. It's like, yeah, I'm probably not going to have to be including that, which was funny though, because it was absolutely hilarious seeing him going tearing into Mark Roberts' defending. Oh man!
On that note of Mark Roberts, obviously, no Mark Roberts for 5 weeks. So he's going to be out until pretty much the World Cup end now.
Yeah.
Who do you think standing's going to be? Do you think it's moved Sanderson and Colin into the centre back role again, and Williams, or?
Well, I'd like to see a back four for once, but it's always that left side, isn't it? Because we've got Maxime Collin who plays on the right. I mean, the only thing I would think about is, well, two things actually. We can either move Collin to left back and play Jordan Graham right back, and play Sanderson and Trusty at centre back, or we bring Harley Dean back, which might be a bit controversial.
No, I was thinking about this, and I was speaking to my cousin about this, who's obviously a lifelong Blue Nose, got a season ticket, platinum way like you, goes to all the games. And he put a very good point to me, and it really annoyed me, because I think Harley Dean can have his games where he's fantastic. And he turned around to me, he went, Jay, why was it under the last 4 managers, when Dean and Roberts were both fully fit, Dean was the one who was mostly picked? I was like, I'm like, yeah, actually, because he can be fantastic.
Yeah. No, I know.
Like heart on his sleeve, boy. But I'd give it a go.
I don't think he's the worst option we can have, because although there is the thing with the wages that there is, that is a bit of an issue. But realistically, if he's playing well, then surely we wouldn't worry about that. There again, the business.
Well, what about George Friend?
I don't know about him at the moment. So I feel like he's starting to move into a more not managerial, like a staff role or something. I think his football games are very close to the end now.
because I do like, I got a soft spot for George Friend. I'm not gonna
Yeah.
lie, I think he's such a classy. I kind of wish we got him 5 years earlier.
Yeah, I don't think we would have got him 5 years earlier though, because he was in the
No,
Premier League with Middlesbrough.
obviously we can hope, but
Yeah, well, we should have made a lot of
I mean,
signings 5 years earlier. Deeney, all those players, John Ruddy,
I know.
those type of players. We should have made them 5 years earlier. Made like a Bristol City push for the Premier League. Yeah, I think that's.
Let's hope.
Yeah,
Let's hope. You know,
I think. I don't know. I don't know with the Blues when it comes to finance. It's always like something I just don't know about. When it comes to the football, you know, I can say Harley Dean should play in the team. I feel like it's a bit of a controversial opinion, but you know, it's not something out of the ordinary. You know, he has played for us before, and even if he is a bit of a arse from time to time, he still gives a decent performance. But when it comes to his wages, I just don't have an opinion on it because I don't know what effect it'll have on the club, or if it's like complete disaster if we suddenly put him in the team and we do have to pay him those wages. The same with Neil Etheridge, you know, I don't know those things. So I'd suggest it, but I wouldn't be confident on it in that sort of way. I wouldn't say we should be playing Harley Dean. It's one of those things where I'd be like, if we have to play him, then just play him, because otherwise, if we're playing Gary Gardner at centre back again, then that's just going to be even worse. You know, surely that's going to be terrible.
no. Well, I suppose you don't want to lose him out in the middle, but Billick can also play in the back three, can't he?
Good point, yeah. I suppose that might be something that we might look towards to doing, actually, because if he's one of those centre defensive
Gardner and Billick
midfielders,
back.
maybe, yeah. If he could move into that sort of centre-back role, then move back into the midfield in the game, then maybe that might not be too bad, actually. That could work.
But yeah, that's all I've got really. Just, you know, wanted to throw out, you know, quickly, what would your prediction be, hand on heart, right now?
I think, I don't know, actually. I've always got quite a strong prediction in my head when it comes to these things, but I'm never quite too sure about Sheffield United games and these top of the table games. But I think I'd be happy with the 1-1, but I feel like we've got to go for something because, you know, this is not a Blues podcast, so we don't believe that we're going to naively win. So I'm going to say 2-1 Blues. I feel like Sheffield United will score. But I do feel like we could nick a couple of goals though. That's one thing I think we have got in our. I think we are good on the break, actually. I think we're good at sitting back in. I do think we are very defensively strong, actually, with Trusty and Ruddy and Sanderson. I feel like we have got some good defenders in that department. But going forward, it's a bit risky at times. But Hogan's in good form. He's a good confidence player. So him coming into that game, you know, just off the bat. Wait, who did we play last game? Oh, fucking international breaks, they're terrible. Cov. Oh shit! Yeah,
it was Cover and the 0-0. But
oh no, we didn't.
But to be fair, 7 points out of 9 leading to the international break. I was happy as Larry with that.
Yeah. I mean, I think that is a good thing. I just hope that with Hogan that he's one of those players, because he is a very big confidence player, that if you don't give him goals, he doesn't get goals, then he will start to hang his head and feel like he's the worst player the world's ever seen. So I do hope if he goes into this game that he goes like, look, I got a hat trick against West Brom. I can definitely come into this game and then I get a couple of goals for us. You know, I want him to think like that because he does score goals. He's a very good poacher. He's one of those very good.
Yeah, he is. He's that little fox in the box. And let's be honest, if anyone's going to get the slack at the minute, you know, the anti-Deeney army is about anyway. So
yeah, with Deeney though, it's like I just wonder whether he's run his course a little bit, because I'm sure that he does care and I'm sure he does try.
Yeah.
But his performance levels aren't at the levels that he would be at in a normal championship team, because the Deeney we all know is the one that he sort of goes in at and just tears the whole championship up and gets like 20 goals every season with them. But
the battering ram.
Yeah, that type of Deeney that we've got in our heads. But, you know, he's in his 30s now. He's starting to, like I say, run his course a little bit. I don't know if that's the right term now. I think it is.
and to me, this might sound a bit daft. Like, it looks like Eustace is, and I might be wrong because it does. I get it. He's probably trying to play two strikers, but it might look like he's told Deeney to sit behind Hogan a little bit.
And that annoys me.
Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Though, because a lot of time when I'm watching the build-up, you got Bakuna going forward, and you got Deeney sitting back a bit. And I'm like, is Deeney been told to become more of a playmaker, kind of hold-up role? Like,
I really wish, and he did get a couple of good chance involvements. Really, he got an assist for Hogan and in the West Brom game.
Mm-hmm.
But I really hope that he would. I've said this in a couple of articles I wrote in the post games sort of stuff, and I've always wanted him to play on the shoulder, like Hogan's sort of role is, because he 1-on-1. I think every goal he scored last season was a 1-on-1 chance. So like, why doesn't he do that more often? I don't know why he started to elect to become this midfielder type of player. Like, he's never played there before. Why would he go and play there now? It's just out front. It annoys me.
Because I suppose that's the criticism I got. Like, I love Troy and I love what he's about and I love his trying and he gives 100%. But I'm very much like that. Like, if you put Troy Deeney 1-on-1, it's going in 90%. 90% of the time, the keeper's making the save or it's going in.
Yeah, exactly. There's no ifs or buts really with anything he does in front of goal. Like, he is what Hogan should be, really, or should have been, because he in front of goal, Troy Deeney, when it comes to him, it's just a goal every single time. And we haven't seen any of that from him this season. And that's what's kind of been annoying with him, because it's like, right, Bowyer clearly didn't believe in you or had a disagreement with you or whatever it was. There was something clearly not right with that then. But now you've under a manager that you are good friends with, or at least on good terms with. So you should be in that box and banging those goals in like Scott Hogan was against West Brom. That's what I think he should be, rather than playing in midfield.
But surely most championship teams look, before, obviously, I know he's not scored this season, but before, when we first got Troy, they'd go, oh shit, it's Troy Deeney.
Yeah.
This man knows where the net is. This man bagged 10 plus in a Premier League season. He knows where the goal lives, and he just doesn't seem to have that fear factor about him too much anymore.
Yeah, it must just be with age, perhaps, and that's probably why they are moving him into midfield. It's difficult to say with players like Troy and Duke as well, because obviously they are starting to get to that weird stage of their career where their head is strong, but they just won't. What they're trying to do won't keep going on. So it's just like it's that hard battle towards the end of their careers. Perhaps they're starting to come up against. And I think with people like George Friend, because they are so headstrong, is that they eventually know that, I can't really run the way that I used to. Maybe it's time to start to wind in my career and look for a different career path, like George Friend is now. He's starting to go into a bit more of a staff role and starting to learn off John Eustace, who obviously has had to gone through the experience of retirements pretty recently, because John Eustace isn't the oldest the coach is. He's
not old at all, man.
Is he in his 40s or something like that? I think he is. But yeah,
he doesn't look 50.
No,
he doesn't look anywhere near 50. He looks like a baby face still.
He looks very fit.
Considering, that's what I mean. Considering managers, you know what I mean. Like when you're looking at your big Sams and your people like that, you're just like, oh man, like this guy still looks like he can run a good 60 minutes.
Yeah, do decent job on the back, that's for sure.
But yeah, circle back to. I'm with you. I think there's every chance we could get a good result against Sheff. I would bite your hand off for a 1-1 though right now. To go away to top of the league and walk away with something would be a great result.
Yeah, so thank you very much for watching this episode of the Blues Focus podcast. We're going to try and keep these coming a bit more regularly to you all. But yeah, be sure to get into the comments and tell us what you think we were discussing about, whether you agree with us, whether you don't. It's interesting. It's always good to keep a good conversation going back and forth. So we're always very interested. We're very active in the comment section, but so be sure to come and have a good conversation with us. Be sure to check out all of our socials down in the link in the description. Thank you very much, Jamie, for joining this. This was his first time hosting the Blues Focus podcast, so be sure to go and give some love. Have you got socials to shout out or anything?
Just boring Twitter at Johnny Lawler 1234, and you'll see me pop up on the YouTube. I'll write something on the comments myself on my own page as well, so people can kind of see me about.
Wicked, yeah. All of his links will be in the description as well as mine.
Yeah.
And thank you very much for watching. Be sure to subscribe and share this video, and keep right on.